through. Shine your light, let your voices be heard. We're spreading love with every single word. From the stage to the screen, we're making our mark. Me and Venus, together we embark.
Evening. Today I'm very happy to welcome a great actress and model producer, Mrs. Sybil Danning. Hello, Sybil. Thank you very much for joining the live.
Hello,
Can you
Sharif.
hear me? Thank you
I
very
am
much.
doing good.
Actually,
How are
I
you?
just thank you very much for accepting the live. It's a pleasure talking to you. Been big fan of your work for a long time since I discovered it. And I discovered as well that your real name is Sybil Johanna Danninger, correct? It's not an
Yes,
artistic name, right? Yes.
that's my
Tell me,
real name. Yeah.
yes, I know you are originally from Austria, from, I don't know, it's a small or big city called Wales in Austria. So tell me a little bit about your childhood and early teenager growing up in this part of Europe. How can you tell us about it?
Well, I was born in Wels, which is a small town, but a beautiful town. I was born there, and then actually I went with my mother to Bad Hall, and then from there to Ried. So I didn't spend that much time in Wels. But you know, growing up in Austria, I only spent 5 years in Austria. Then I actually came to the United States, and my mother is from Austria. My father is actually American. He was, I'm very proud to say, he was with the military police in Austria, and he was stationed there after the war. And he met my mother. I have to tell this story because it's such a beautiful story. My mother was working, still working in a factory, and she was walking home one night, and a car drives up, and the door opens, and men pull her into the car and drive away with her, and she's trying to, you know, make herself known. If someone would come, spotlights come on in the back of the car, and they say, "Military police, stop." The door opens up. They open up the door. I run out into the arms of this military policeman, American, and the rest is history. He saved my mother's life. They were Russians, and they were probably going to rape her and probably kill her. So he saved her life and gave me my life. And unfortunately, after that, he had to go back to America, and my mother wanted to go to America, but her parents didn't want her to leave Austria. So that's what you call destiny. She always told me that she wanted to go, and they said, "You can go, but we're going to keep your daughter here."
Yes.
And they knew she wouldn't leave without me. So we stayed in Austria, and my father went back to America. He wanted her to come, and I was the best dressed baby and little girl in Austria, with ruffled dresses and ruffled panties and ruffled socks. And when I was old enough to understand, my mother told me that was the love of her life. And she said, "You have so much of your father in you. I really loved your father." And so that was the first 5 years. And then she got to know another American. He was also in the military. And so she wanted to give me a father. They got married, and we came to America. So when I was 5, I came to the United States. And
Yes.
then I was there for approximately 10 years, and my father was stationed back in Germany, so we went back to Europe. And that's where my mother then stayed. And I basically then grew up with my mother in Europe. And my father
Yes.
traveled a lot and left us in Europe, which was okay with him.
Mhm. And so you were a lonely child. You didn't have brother or sisters.
No, I did have a sister. I had a sister
Hmm.
with a stepfather,
Yeah.
my sister and my step three children. I was obviously the oldest, and I was always taking care of them.
Great. You know, I want to ask you because I've seen you worked, you know, in cosmetology and I think in dental as a doctor or I don't hygienist like they describe it. But I want to know how did you get your first break in fashion and photography in the late 60s and 70s and later in movies because you did a lot of films in Europe, you know, in German, you know, in German language. So tell me about this era from your life. How did it start your venturing into art, you know?
I'm not hearing you totally, but I think you basically asked me how did I get into the movie
Yes,
business, right? How did
yes,
that come
yes,
about?
yes.
Well, a long story short, staying in Austria, my family there are all doctors and dentists, so I worked with my uncle then in the dental business and went to Vienna, worked there, then went to Salzburg and was there in Salzburg as an assistant in the hospital for dental surgery, and I was an assistant. And I enjoyed the work, but there was not very much pay. I mean, it was a government paid job, so I was always very ambitious. And then I saw that they were looking for new students in a cosmetology school. And I said, that's something that would interest me. So I went to cosmetology school and I got a diploma for, manicure, pedicure, body massage, decorative makeup, and I got a special award also for Je me monte from France, and I worked in a cosmetology salon, and in Salzburg, it was the number one place to work there. And the owner of that loved traveling, and she had a very prominent boyfriend who loved to invite her. And she saw that I was taking care of not only my clients, but also I was answering the phones and doing everything. So she left me to run her salon as well. And it was also a modeling. It had a modeling department. So when someone called and said, well, we need a model on Saturday night for 5 hours in this place in Salzburg or in Vienna, of course I said, yes, I have someone for you. Her name is Sybil Danning, and she will be there. So I was booking myself, and that's how I started the modeling. And after I was doing the modeling, I became known as a model, and I also modeled in Italy and in Germany and even Japan. And one day a photographer calls and says, there is a director here from Germany that saw your pictures in my office, and he would like to meet you for a movie. So that was my first movie. I met with him and I played the role of Lorelei, which is a German saga. She is a woman that literally sits on the top of a cliff overlooking the Rhine River, and she's totally nude, but she has long hair, long blonde hair, covering up her body. And so that's kind of the saga. And they say that all the ships in the Rhine River were crashing because she was singing there, sitting beautifully, and all the men and the captains were crashing their ships watching her. So that's this kind of the sense of humor that German comedy and German saga has. And after that, I did another German saga, which was the Nibelungen story of Siegfried and Kriemhild, and I played the Princess Kriemhild. So one thing led to another, and I'm sure you know the Stern magazine in Germany
Actually,
was, yes,
the cover and the Q, I remember the Spiegel as well. You know,
yeah,
they used to have very beautiful models on the cover.
yes,
Uh,
yes. Well, Stern had 2 pages of me.
Centerfold.
Across
Yes,
2 pages, I was sitting on that Rhine River shot, and
yes,
that basically made me a star. And then, of course, the next one also, because it was a beautiful saga.
yes. And before I ask you about your move to Hollywood, I want to ask you because I've seen some of your films in Germany, the one you mentioned and other. And at the time, there were a lot of liberty in German cinema, doing sex comedies and very erotic, stories. Also in France, you remember at the time there was Emmanuel, there was the story of O, in French cinema, and Italy as well. I think you did some of the Giallo films in Italian cinema uh, as well. So tell me about how director used to direct you, especially in hot scenes. They were shy or they were, I mean, professional.
You mean how did they handle the
Yes,
sexy scenes?
the sexy scenes. How did they direct you at the time? How was the direction of women and beautiful actresses like yourself in that era? How can you describe it?
Well, for me, it was always a natural thing because my attitude has always been, I think a beautiful body is a beautiful thing, and it's a little bit different in America, although it has changed now too. But still, Americans can deal you know, with violence a lot more, or action movies a lot better than with the sexy movies. But in my time, at that time, the sexy movies were normal. It was a normal thing. But I lived in Munich, in Germany, and I lived, near a pool where I would go, and women would sunbathe nude, topless, and no one would think anything of it. And families were there, and no one thinks anything of it. So um, to have nudity in movies was nothing special. And like you said, Emmanuel, all those beautiful movies were big movies then, and now they're sold all over the world, where everything has become a little bit more liberal.
For sure. So right now, I want to know how did you move your career to the United States? And you work in with very famous director, sci-fi, horror, fantasy, and action as well. You work with Andy Sideris, in some of his action films with a lot of beautiful Playboy models. So tell me, how did you make the move from Europe to Hollywood and to American cinema?
Well, I was actually offered in Germany, after all these sexy movies, to do a Francis Durbridge play in the theater in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, in the German-speaking territories, which was very prestigious. And I thought, for anyone. That would have been a wonderful offer, because especially going from sexy movies to the theater, especially at Durbridge, would be a natural thing to do, because that's such a wonderful dive into the opposite of sexy movies. This is something very serious. But I said to myself, do I want to go through 3 countries for years? I mean, literally doing theater in Europe, especially in the German theater, is a very prestigious thing, but you don't necessarily make a lot of money. And I was always, like I said, very eager to also make money, but I wanted to do what I enjoyed doing. And the theater is very hard work. And I said to myself, I have to change, but I don't think I want to do theater because it's going to be years, and that will engage me. What I really want is the big screen. Theater was never something where I said I have to have that immediate, most people that love the theater, they love it because they love that immediate contact with the audience and feedback. But I don't necessarily need that or wanted that. What I wanted Hollywood. I wanted the big screen. I wanted to be on a big screen, and I wanted to make money. So I just decided that that's what I want to do, because when I was in Germany, while I was also getting this offer, I had done, Bluebeard with Richard Burton and with Raquel Welch and many wonderful Hollywood stars at the time. I did the 3 and 4 Musketeers with top Hollywood stars. And I did, a few movies there where I had already gotten the feel of Hollywood. And believe me, I've done movies where I would have to do my makeup by hanging a mirror on a tree somewhere and doing my own makeup when things had to be, a little bit
Small scale,
improvised.
yeah, small scale
Because of
budgets.
the budget.
Yeah, small scale
So,
production. Yes,
yes.
yes.
So,
Mhm.
I remember Bluebeard going to Hungary, beautiful Budapest, and going into the makeup room the first day of being on that movie set with, Richard Burton, who I loved and adored, and sitting down, walking into this beautiful room, being greeted so kindly, coffee brought to me, and listening to Neil Diamond while a wonderful professional is doing my makeup. And I said, this is what I want. And that was in Budapest, but it was an all-American production. So I got the feel, I got the taste, and I knew that was the menu I loved. And I said, okay, I'm going to go to Hollywood. And I just packed my stuff, and I said, I took enough money to stay for 3 months. And I said, I'm going to try it. I kept my apartment in Munich. And I said, if it doesn't work, I can always come back, but you got to try it. If you want something, you got to go for it. And so I went to Hollywood, and the first thing I heard was, oh my, didn't you hear that there's like 5,000 actors out of work and you're coming from Europe? And I said, yeah. So worst thing that can happen, there'll be 5,001 actors out of work, but I'm going to go for it. And I worked hard, and I got an agent. It was the wonderful Kohner agency. They were 2 brothers that were originally from Czechoslovakia, and they were happy to take me on. They had other European, like Horst Buchholz was also with them from Germany. They were known to have actors from Europe. And the first movie that I did was actually a movie that a Persian director, writer, producer did. It was called Cat in the Cage. And that was a wonderful thriller where I think I killed everybody in that movie but the director. And well, that's when I came to America, and we had planned to go to Tehran to have the big premiere, and I was really looking forward to going there. But the Shah of Iran at that time, as you know, that was the time where he had left, and there was the upheaval, so we never got to go. But we went to Cairo, where I believe you are born. You are from Cairo, Egypt, correct?
Yes, yes. I was born in Cairo. Yes.
Yes. So thank you, because
Mhm.
Cairo was the one who said, come to us. And so I was at the Cairo Film Festival with
Yes.
Tony. Mohammed Zarindast was his name, Tony Zarindast. And we went to Cairo, and we were grandly welcomed there with open arms. And we had a wonderful premiere of the movie, and we had a lot of fun. And I loved being there. So that was the first movie. And then the second one actually was, it was interesting how that started, because that was kind of a sexy movie too, but it was very interesting, and it was very well done and beautifully shot. But the next one was Battle Beyond the Stars, which still today is a Roger Corman classic, and the biggest budget movie that he
Yes.
ever did. And it was something that really propelled me into stardom in America, because it was a science fiction movie, and I got to play a female warrior, a warrior queen, and played a lot of queens after that. And it was very successful, and it still is today, and it still has so many lives. It keeps generating something new. And I also have to say, I loved all my companions in that movie, but I was the only one that was honored, I have to say, and lucky to have my own, and the only one. But just 2 years ago, I was given a beautiful, beautiful NECA action figure that was created as my character Saint Exmund in the movie Battle Beyond the Stars. So I'm very happy and honored to have that figurine. It was limited. I still have a few left, and many people are buying that still 2 years ago, buying a figure that came out so long after we did the movie. And I'm proud because
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone has an action figure from the same company, NECA. They did a wonderful job. So that was the second movie that really catapulted me. And then the third one was quite a wonderful next step for me, because that was a big studio movie, and that was for Universal. And that was, I think everyone has seen all the airport movies, and mine was the very last
Yes.
one. That was the airport, the Concorde, about the Concorde that went
Conquer.
down in Austria, actually in Austria, over the Austrian Alps. And we shot all of that in Utah, in
Yes.
America. It was beautiful, and that was with Alain Delon and with Sylvia Christel, who I met and
Yes.
who was a wonderful girl, wonderful.
Yes.
And she did a lot of sexy movies too, and was
Yes.
and unfortunately had to leave us at a very young age. But I met her on that movie. So that
Yes.
was the beginning, and that's where things went from there.
Yes. Tell me, Sybil, right now, uh, in American cinema right now, I want to ask you, did you face any challenges as a woman, as an actress, while you were working on these films? Being part from Austria, from Europe, and how did you accommodate yourself in Hollywood?
You mean, was it difficult for me to coming from Europe?
Yes, yeah, yes.
Well,
Did you face any
uh,
challenges?
oh yes, definitely, definitely.
Hmm.
Actually, the word was out. There's new meat in town. When a European young actress is in town, the word gets out really fast. And so you
Yes.
have to be very diplomatic. And
Hmm.
I can give you one example that I've had a
Yes.
problem with casting people, even though today I love them.
Yes.
But I did have a problem then. But just because of one casting person that said, after I had gone in for a movie, said to me, "I think you're really wonderful for this role, but I'd love to talk more about it with you tonight. So why don't we have a little dinner and dancing, and we'll talk about the role some more." And I
Yes.
didn't go. I didn't
Yes.
go, and so
Hmm.
I didn't have the role either. So yes, there are challenges, and there,
Hmm.
as you've heard, there have been a lot of challenges. I mean, the entire Me Too movement was very sad.
Yes.
Not easy,
Uh,
not easy.
Not easy. And I think when you did the movies you mentioned, Conquered and Battle Beyond the Stars, and you did the Shamed Heat and Howling Part 2 as well. I think you were featured in Playboy magazine as well.
I was what?
You were featured in Playboy magazine at the time, right?
If I was in Playboy?
Yes, yes. During that time, after a few of these film roles, you were featured in Playboy magazine. I remember, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, featured. Yes. Oh, okay. I
Yes.
understood the teacher. I'm sorry. I think I
No,
have
no.
my. I don't think I have my
Headphone.
volume up enough, but I got you. Well, actually, it's interesting because I felt, okay, in Europe, you're known as a sexy star. That's okay, but I want to do something else. And
Yes,
here, really, the first one was a little bit sexy, but the other two films, being in a science fiction movie and having such a wonderful role, and I went, I mean, the distributor sent me back to Europe to do all the promotion with my costume because that movie was loved everywhere and they made a lot of money with Battle Beyond the Stars. And then, of course, Airport the Concorde was very serious. But when I went, for instance, I have so many fans, and I have to tell you, you can see that I'm going to be doing a tour. And I have to tell you, I'm very happy because I have so many fans, well, from Colombia, but also from
yes,
Argentina. And I just heard from my manager, he said, Sybil, someone called from Buenos Aires, and they'd like to invite you just for one day. It's going to be all of my fans there just for you. They want to fly you in and just listen to you all day, talk about like we're talking today. And I said, that is so wonderful to hear because I have so many fans in Argentina. So I can say, don't cry for me, Argentina, I'm coming.
yes.
But
Gracias, gracias.
Yes, you know, but I did I have so many fans all over the world. Um, Also, there's another one that they're doing here in the United States, and it's just going to be an Italian
Yes,
motto. And there they loved Il Giorno del Cobra, so
yes.
um, they have Castellari there, the director, and they want me to come there. So these are specialty things that I really love doing too. Um, but those are movies that you know, one helped the other, and I did 3 movies with Franco Nero, and I did 5 movies with Christopher Lee. Um, but you know what really, well, the reason I mention, actually now I want to come back, and I almost forgot that. In
Yes.
Buenos Aires, where this is going to take place, the place in Buenos Aires is called, um, um, oh my God, what is it called? It's, um, oh, it'll come back to me in a moment.
Yes.
But in any case, they
Hmm.
have all over the walls, they have movies, and one series that they really love is the entire V series.
Yes.
And when I went in to get the role for V, they said to me, "Would you mind coming back as a regular?" And I said, "Oh, hell yes. I'd love to come back as a regular on V." And they said, "Well, we saw your Playboy. We really love your Playboy." So what I really wanted to say was my Playboy got me a lot of roles. And you'd never think that because, you know, you could think, well, so Playboy has nude women in it. That's not exactly who you're looking for when you want someone for a movie, right? But the Playboy in America um, has always been, you know, revered as being classy. And
Hmm.
so my Playboy, I know now that a lot of people had Playboy who called me in, and that's what drew their attention to me as well as other movies.
Hmm.
What some people might not think would be the case.
Yes. You know, behind you, I see a photo of yours in the Howling Part 2, right?
Yes,
And I think
as
Battle
Queen Stu.
Beyond the Stars. Yes, and
Yes,
Battle Beyond the Stars. And also, it's like a manga or comic version of you, right? To your
that is
right.
my comic book. Yes, that's based on a movie that I co-wrote and I produced and starred in called L.A. Bounty.
Yes,
Action movie L.A. Bounty, and my character in the movie was called Ruger, like the gun, the Ruger gun, and
yes.
I owned that character. I kept the ownership of the character and made a comic book out of her. But what I did was first I wrote a screenplay, and so um, the comic book is now based on the screenplay called Ruger. And I'm also going to do a TV series or maybe a movie and then a series on Ruger. And that's the character you see behind my right shoulder. I'm carrying a Ruger. You just can't see it there. Yeah. But that's not the first comic book that I
Yes.
have.
This is,
I had, yes, I had one before. Yeah. Black Diamond. Sybil Danning is Black Diamond.
yes. You know, I've seen you work as well in Malibu Express with Andy Sedaris, you know, and he was very popular at the time with his films with beautiful girls and stuff like that. So tell me about this experience and how you used to do, how you used to direct actresses as well.
I loved Andy. I loved working with him because he's such a lovely, well, He's no longer with us, unfortunately, but
Yes.
he's such a lovely man. He's a kind man, and he's so funny. He is very
Yes.
funny, and he loves to crack jokes in between. And working with him on set, you feel so relaxed, and he knows exactly what he wants, but he
Yes.
always, if you have an idea, he's always open to any suggestions that you have. So working with him was wonderful, and he was a big fan of mine. Um, he's also a very good cook. So a
Yes.
few people that he worked with were from time to time also invited to his beautiful home, and he would cook for us, and we would have wine and just have a wonderful time. I loved working with Andy.
Yes. Sybil, you talked about right now. You told me about working in small budget films and how you used to do yourself your own makeup or hair to prepare before shooting, right? And during your work, you did a lot of science fiction and horror and non-conventional characters that used to wear unconventional costume, your characters, you know. So tell me, did you have any funny happenings, or like they call it in Hollywood, wardrobe malfunction, during the shooting of your films?
Well, yes, actually, with that costume over there
Yes,
behind my
yes,
left shoulder, St. Exmond's top piece, that's actually styrofoam. It's meant
yes,
to look like metal,
yes,
and it was a beautiful costume, but it was very unpractical to shoot.
yes,
And
for sure.
Roger Corman he didn't direct the movie. Jimmy Murakami did. He was a wonderful Japanese director who does a lot of commercials. He had a great sense of humor, but he did have to stop the shooting a couple times, and a couple of times because Roger, like I said, this was his biggest budget movie, was on the set all the time. Because if one of the actors failed their text, then he would just say, "Stop, throw him out, cut the scene," because time is money for him. So he was standing on the set one day,
Hmm.
and we were doing one of the scenes where I had to move around a lot, and the director would call cut and cut again. And he said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, her top piece is moving a little bit, and we have to readjust it because
Hmm.
this is
Yes,
PG rated movie."
yes.
And so maybe two times it was okay, but the third time he said, "Okay, that's it, glue her in." So they actually glue my nipples inside the costume, which was
Yes,
fine. It didn't hurt.
yes.
What hurt was at night taking it off because
Hmm.
the material they used that burned a little bit. But so that was one problem, but that wasn't the only problem. If you remember, St. Exmond had her battle outfit.
Yes.
Her spaceship was called the Dart. So my designer said, "You know what? Your battle outfit is going to be mini darts, which is your battle outfit, and it's going to represent your spaceship." And the darts were meant to be, those were those holes, and the holes were held together by little buttons, metal buttons. And it was easier said on paper than done once they had it ready for me, because once I got into the costume, it was very difficult because the material was spandex of the outfit. So everything did not stay in place and it expanded. And again, in moving, I was, coming through holes where I shouldn't be coming through. And there was a problem with that one as well. And when I had my close-up scene for the television version, they had to rotoscope my entire chest. So from the neck to my, to my waist, they rotoscoped me because the position in the spaceship made my bosom come through the holes too much. And
Yes.
this was a PG rated movie again. So that costume as well caused a problem.
Yes.
So
So
that was a problematic movie for my costumes, but everything else went very well.
great. You know, I since we spoke about casting directors and you are doing a tour right now in Latin America. Tell me, did you have any strange encounters with, a little bit strange fans, because I think you meet a lot of people during your career, big fans who love your work. Any strange encounters with unconventional fans?
Oh, well, you mean that we're bad or funny or
Yes,
whatever?
yes.
Um, well, I remember a very funny time because I really loved working with Christopher Lee. And like I said, we did 5 movies together. Um, and when we did the Howling II, like I said, that was, during um, it was, you know, we had spies. We had spies watching us because they wanted to know what are these Americans up to when we were in the Czech Republic.
Yes.
So in the evening, Christopher and I would always have dinner in one particular restaurant. And in that same restaurant, every night, there was this little man. He was short. And we had to laugh because he had something on his head. We said, there's the guy with a dead squirrel on his head. He had a toupee. I guess it was to disguise him. And these very, very thick glasses. And, he would have his shoulders shrugged and he would sit in the same table in a corner and just sit there and watch us. So we knew he was spying on Christopher and me.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
that was, it was hilarious. Every time we went in there to have dinner, there he was spying on us. Yeah, that was really funny.
Okay. Right now, I want to ask you, did a lot of films between America and Europe. Do you still have a dream role, dream character you would like to play or write or produce in the future?
Pardon?
Yeah, I was asking you if you have a dream character you would like to play or to write or produce in the future.
Oh, well, I haven't really thought of that one role yet, but
Yes,
I do have 3 projects that I'm working on. Of course, the Ruger one that I told you, which is action adventure and hopefully a series. I think it will turn out to become a series. And then I have another project, which is I'm only going to play a small role in that because it is the role that I really played in life, and it's based on a true story. And I'm only there at the opening to help tell the story, how it came together, and why the project was made with the people that I'm making it with. And that's something I'm very proud about. And that's either going to be a very big movie only, which is kind of difficult because it's so intricate. But right now, it is a treatment to become a movie and then a series to follow, or movie of the week and episodes, 7, 8 episodes, limited series, which I love that role in there because I am writer, producer, and I will just play that character. Um, that's something I'm very, very proud of, and I'm working on that, and that's with a very big company right now, and it will take a big budget to do that. And what I'm really looking forward to also, and I wrote it. It is my creation. I created the characters, and I wrote the screenplay, and also now the deck is with a studio. Is a vampire movie, and in that vampire movie, I'm going to be playing the lead character with with a male, and I'm looking forward to that very much because that is I gave it to a friend of mine who used to work with Sam Raimi, and he is now with 20th Century Fox, and I
Yes,
trusted him to read the screenplay, and he said, Sybil, with the right director, this is going to go down in history as a classic within that
yes,
genre. And that's exactly what I wanted to create. I wanted to create a vampire with a female lead, the absolute
yes,
female lead in a contemporary time, but which also takes you into the past.
yes. Sybil, I want to thank you very much for this great interview. Appreciate your time, and I wish you all the best in your upcoming project and also your tour. And I hope when you have a new project to announce, you come back and promote it with us on our
You'll
channel.
have to come back when I do my movies, Sharif. I want you to come
For
back when
sure,
I do my movies.
for
And
sure.
by the way, I
Yes,
have to tell you, the name of that huge restaurant in Buenos Aires is California Dreaming.
California Dreaming, like the song.
California Dreaming in Buenos Aires.
Yes,
Yes,
excellent.
Argentina.
Come visit us in Ecuador as well.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very
So
much. Steve.
you have
Yes.
everything
Hmm.
for my fans that how they can reach me and my,
Yes, I
my
have
social
your,
media and everything. You have all that, I'm sure, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And I have the email and everything. And I hope you come and visit us in Ecuador as well.
I would love to come to Ecuador. I have never been there.
It's very beautiful here, and the weather is nice as well.
Yes,
We
I
are in
know.
Quito. It's not hot like other parts of Latin America.
Hmm.
It's like winter, or in so I was very happy making this interview with you, and I will look forward for your upcoming news. I wish you all the best in your project, and especially the vampire project, and your tour as well. And we'll be in touch, and I will be happy to have you again in the show. Thank you very much, Sibel.
Thank you very much. And I too look forward to talking to you again. Thank you for having me. And thank you to all my fans for being so loyal. And
Thank,
look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.
thank you.
Bye
Danke. Dankeschön. Dankeschön.
bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Dankeschön.
Ciao.
Ciao.